So here I've got the finals of the Elestrals Prototype Tournament versus JadeJonny here. And sorry that the overlay's up here. I forgot to collapse it after aDrive's speech at the beginning of it. But Johnny gets to go first, and he sets 4, throws out a Valkyries, and that's that. So he's got no hand here. Now I get to start off with the Nectar of the Gods. And here I set 1, set 2, and throw out a P-Gust here to pop 1 in the back row, hoping to snipe. I can't really attack over the Valkyries, and I was hoping just to snipe one of Johnny's set cards to just hopefully hit like a counter rune and such. But then here, hit the Volcanic Forge, and here's a little misplay. The rules, I don't know if they're taking me out by then, but they dropped in the middle of the tournament. So at this point, we didn't have time to read the comprehensive rulings if there were any. So that was a mistake on Johnny and I's part. Neither one of us knew that you couldn't do that. So we were just trying to figure out here how to proceed with the game state. And pretty much it came down to, even if Johnny had 3 set, I wasn't going to change my play. So at this point, we just said, okay, Johnny, just add it back to hand. I now know he has the stadium, and we'll just proceed from there. So a bit unfortunate that we had to start out the final match, but that is natural since we don't have comprehensive rulings, that stuff like this will fall through the cracks. So didn't ruin my enjoyment of it. No issues here with it, and we were just able to proceed on with the game and just try our best to win it pretty much. So here I think we're still just trying to decide. The head judge Bo there did a phenomenal job just trying to figure out that situation. And here I just end up sniping Ambrosia, which I think is huge. Just Ambrosia is a great card. So here Johnny decides to not attack. He sets 1, expends 1 to draw, and then tries to attack over the P-Gust by Tsunami to switch the Valkyries to defense to kind of keep my P-Gust on the board. So here I choose to Earthquake the Valkyries. Since I didn't get a counter rune, I imagine at least one of them is, and I just wanted to get the Valkyries out of there real quick, and then I can set up tempo here by throwing out Clovey plus P-Gust. See, not a great hand for offensive numbers, but with the Earthquake there, I can just start having the number of Elestrals advantage on board and can hit Johnny for 2 and try to bail out some counters, which I really like. So Johnny goes for another Valkyries here. Still got 2 cards in hand, one of them being the Stadium, of course. And I end up poison tipping Valkyries because I'd rather just get rid of it. And he does set up the Forge here, and I am able to hit, and he takes over my P-Gust getting rid of it because he needed that to be able to hit over and not just crash. So I do expend 1 to get rid of the Valkyries, that way to kind of keep up the numbers on board. I get Drataya and Ambrosia. Again, just kind of, since I have such low tax stuff, it's important to be able to leverage those counter runes to be able to do that. And here I'm just able to also draw 2 to hopefully get some more. He ends up Wormiting here. Doesn't really need the effect to get over the Drataya, just wants to get rid of it so I can't draw cards. And yeah, so I still have the numbers advantage. Johnny still has 3 set, but here I can start trying to go on the offense. I've got Tectoros here to try to attack into the Wormite. Not great because, of course, Wormite can't do it. The Clovey can't attack over the Wormite, but still getting him to use his shield as well. At least I'm still burning him from spirits, even if he's trying to catch up on tempo on board. The reality match is these aren't refined decks, so it's natural that this will happen. It's going to be a real fight for me to do that, especially with this deck being so aggressive. But he just sets 1, attacks over the Clovey, and it's over to my turn again. So could be another counter rune. Here I'm really kind of trying to fight through this back row to keep on tempo. So I throw out Tectoros yet again and set up my Stadium to knock out Johnny's Volcanic Forge just so I can actually attack over the Wormite instead of crash. And Johnny lets it go through, which is huge. He does have another Volcanic Forge, bit unfortunate. Throws out a Kinleo here to hit over the Tectoros. He flips up Hammer on it, just trying to go a bit more aggressive to get caught up here. That way he can just Nexus onto the Kinleo and hit me for 3. So really powerful play here. He's still got some back rows that he's set. But at this point, I'm just like, I can't really play around it. And he's been setting a lot of bluffs as well. So not feeling too bad about trying to push through it here. And honestly, it is what it is. I just kind of have to keep pushing forward and hope I can answer each of his threats. So Kinleo is huge here, by the way. It is at 7 attack. It's a 7-4 right now with all those spirits on it. So it's going to be a bit of a task to get over it. So here, the best way I can do it is I go Tectoros, which no response there. It's like, okay, good. Scythe, really risky play, haven't used a lot of spirits here, but it does get Tectoros over the Kinleo, and he does not have a response, and I'm able to recover 1, which is quite nice. The Tectoros there would have been, with Scythe would have been at 5 attack, with its own skill would have been at 8 attack, so just barely hitting over. And he does have the Earthquake for, actually, no, it would have been a bit higher than that. What was it? It would have been 5 off of the Scythe, and there's 3 spirits on board. So yeah, that's 8, and Kinleo was at 7. Yes, so yeah, I did math right. Just 1 more, but just flips up the Earthquake, knocks it out, but doesn't have an Elestral to play, which means I'm not falling farther behind, which I love seeing here. Still have to deal with some countermoves, but it is okay with that. So I'm able to throw out a Sprouter here. Pretty low attack, but always throw it in attack because I just want to keep chipping away at the Spirit deck. Most likely he will have an L to it, so I see no reason to attack. And that is actually his final Spirit on top of it. So Johnny doesn't draw an Ambrosia, which would be the only way for him to keep going. So we move on to game 2 here, which, by the way, yeah, Top Cut didn't say this. It was actually best of 3. Thank goodness, because if it wasn't, I have any games to do, I think this one has to be top 3. So I'm going to cut ahead to when we continue the top match here. And yeah, so bit of spoiler. So Johnny chooses to go first, naturally. He goes a Sprouter in defense. Great start, grabs his hammer. Really great way to start off the game. 5 defense is strong. Searching out an artifact from your deck for Nexus targets, a little power up your Elestrals if need be, and just thinning your deck, honestly. So Johnny does to set 3 as well, as usual, just trying to set back row, and actually start with another Nectar. Here, I know that probably some players would be intimidated by it, but I know there aren't many counter runes in these decks, so I know most of them are probably just bluffs. And if I can just force them to use stuff like a shield here with the Veritaqua, I'm going to be able to more readily answer stuff later on. So I'm glad I was able to kind of bait that out here and just bounce back the Veritaqua. So he is technically ahead, but I did get to make him use some spirits. So not too bad here. He gets his own Nectar as well. Just kind of be able to keep up on card advantage a bit better, since last game he really had the Volcaries and that was about it. So he sets up Hammer Hephaestus, again, just deck thinning here to try to be able to get to his Elestrals a bit more. And so far he's only set the Sprouter here, so we'll see if he plays out another Elestral. I do know the answer to this, so I don't know why I'm praying like I don't. So Johnny ends up so he does get the Elestral, the Volcaries here. So really up to now, Volcaries is hitting 5 attack, which is strong, and I end up just taking the 2 damage. And now it's over to my turn, and I have to deal with all this. So I'm not in the best position starting out. Johnny's really set the tempo pace, which is not what I like to see. I don't really want that happening with this deck here, since it is this tempo deck. I want to be the one to set the tempo. But thankfully, he has a Sprouter out. And that has an Earth Spirit on it, which means I can take advantage of that. Oh, actually, don't do that yet. I go Sorlet, actually. So I thought I was going to Tech Tauros here, and Tech Tauros would have gained an extra attack from Sorlet. So I switch Volcaries to defense and attack over it, because it is definitely the bigger threat here. So a bit more expensive, but it's fine. He does go Wormite, so he does have the answer to Sorlet and be able to hit me 1 for Sprouter. So I'm still struggling to keep up since I don't have any counter runes to help out with that, or haven't seen any Earthquakes. But still, these aren't huge threats defensively, so I should be able to easily attack over the Wormite here. And here's where I throw out the Tech Tauros, which is significant because now it's at 5 attack. I set one as, I will admit it is a bluff here, seeing if, since I've only been setting like actual cards to see if Johnny might use extra resources to destroy it or try to play around it. But Johnny does call my bluff here and just, well, actually kind of, but at the same time, well, he needed to use Earthquake to get over Tech Tauros, admittedly. So it does use some more spirits, hits me for 2, which is fine. Necrof would have been, if Necrof had been able to attack over, it would have been the same difference, but instead, Johnny has to use 2 extra spirits here. So not too bad. I'm still behind here, but not terribly in terms of spirits, thankfully. So there is a chance that I might be able to just kind of outlast spirit-wise, but I really need to get control of this board here to do so, and Johnny be able to keep putting on Elestral each turn. Really, he's doing what I wanted to do. So how do I get over this? Well, I have another Tech Tauros, and that extra spirit on Sprouter really helps. So I end up crashing into the Necro, which forced me to expend 1, but I really just wanted to get that Necro off the board as well. Sure, I could have hit over Sprouter, but then I'm down at 4 attack, and Necro can just attack over me anyway, and I would expend a spirit. So I figured it's better to get out the bigger threat now. Just, again, it's not great. I do feel quite bad about it, but I do think it was the best play in the long run. He still hits me 4, so he doesn't play on Elestral, and this is kind of the break I needed here. Just him not being able to play on Elestral, I can go Drataya here, and while I can't attack over the Sprouter, he does Poison Tip here, but what I do have is an Ambrosia, which I was figuring I could just try to seize more cards. So I'm able to recover 3 and draw 2, just try to seize stuff to bulk up this Drataya. I think I did have some. So a second Ambrosia as well. So I'm feeling really good about being able to draw into cards that can help me hit over the Sprouter here. And funny enough, I do have the triple Ambrosia in hand. I had 2 and a Drataya this entire time. I was waiting for a moment like this with a Sprouter, and I think I did have a Demeter to be able to hit over the Sprouter with this play. But pretty much, I drew to the 3rd Ambrosia, and it's just perfect. Now I have a ton of cards. Sure, my Drataya is going away, but I mean, Feloy Forest, and I can still easily set up to have Drataya hit over. Demeter here, and I actually made a slight misplay here. So I forgot that Floyd would make Sprouter 4 attack as well, so I ended up just crashing here. So Johnny doesn't have to expend with the Poison Tip, but at the same time, the only way I would have been able to do it is with Scythe, and sure, I could have refunded its cost, but I would have lost out on the card as well. So I think it was a slight misplay. I maybe should have committed the Scythe to just be able to attack over it, force Johnny to expend another one, because it would have cost me a card, but it would have forced more spirits out of Johnny, it wouldn't have cost me more spirits. Bit unfortunate there. He does have his own Ambrosia. It's the final, so slight misplay there, I think. But at the same time, I could also be saving my side to hit over stuff. But Johnny doesn't have an Elestral here. And this is, again, the break I needed. I am now up on spirits. I now can get ahead with this Rummagem here. So it's really looking good here. So yeah, I think looking back on this, I probably should have used the Scythe. But at the same time, nothing we can do about it now. And I think there's still the argument to be made to maybe keep it as well. But I forget this exact spirit differential to really make my true analysis, but that was the play that was made. I just wanted to point out that alternate line of play as well, which was definitely valid. But still, Rummagem, now I have control of the board. That Dratai play gave me a ton of spirits back, which is really nice to see. So he does Eruption me, trying to chip away again at some of the spirits that I put back with all those Ambrosias. He does go Kinleo here, which can also put some more pressure on me as well. But also, of note, the spirits he put back, he pretty much got rid of with the Eruption as well. So kind of breaking even on his Ambrosia. But Kinleo here, really powerful as well. Just kind of going aggressive here, which is a bit scary. So he does also set up, Johnny did say he made a slight misplay here. He should have made sure they had the Fire Spirit full of Volcanic Forge, and that becomes relevant. But he did want to just get rid of my 4, so I couldn't easily hit over it. And I'm forced to expend 3. So I only have 1 spirit left. And this is huge. So what am I able to do with this 1 spirit? Well, I did search out a Rectectoros last turn, which is very notable because it's going to be one of my most powerful attackers. And here I'm just hoping Johnny doesn't have the counter rune. He doesn't, and then he just needs a Necruff, and he does not, actually not a Necruff here. Yeah, he had 1 spirit left. He just needed the Necruff to win it, and he didn't get it. And the reason he needed the Necruff was because they could have traded Tectoros towards me to expend 1 to win, pretty much. But alas, he drew into his Leonite. That is not the Necruff. And that is the finals. I was able to win 2-0 after losing to Johnny, a final round of Swiss. I got the comeback here, and it was really exciting. I expected it actually to go to game 3, looking very hairy there, but just Johnny did say that he did make a misplay, that he should have misenchanted the hammer and Nexus only the Fire Spirit and set up Volcanic Forge properly, because what that would have done was Tectoros would have only been able to trade into Kinleo at that point off of, Forge would have had Kinleo at 6 attack. No, I would have been able to trade over if I used the Spirit from Demeter. I would have also had 1 Spirit left, so it's kind of a bit hard to say, but at least would have given Johnny more of a chance it would have given him an extra turn to draw a card. But still, all in all, really fun match. I do now owe JadeJonny a game of Constructed, so he can now get his redemption, because he definitely shines way more in Constructed than Prototype, where I feel like I definitely shine more in a Prototype Constructed format like this. But yeah, that's about it for this match. It was a lot of fun. I know the stream that Dan had was just going crazy at that triple Ambrosia Drataya play. A lot of fun here. Really had a blast. Always enjoy playing against Johnny here. Really smooth gameplay, since we both have been playing for a while and kind of know what we need to do. So thank you to my opponent, JadeJonny here, for a really fun final match. And thank you to the Dan and the entire mod team, Keith, all the judges, Words, Moxie, Baron, Jai, Head Judge Bo, everyone who made this tournament possible. I mean, Helen for making the brackets. It really, and anyone else who I have not mentioned that made this tournament possible. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, and I champion of it. That's really exciting. Definitely don't think that makes me the best player here, but at the same time, I am glad that I was able to perform really well. It was really exciting here. So, but at the same time, wouldn't have been as fun if I didn't have a lot of exciting opponents to be able to face against and really give me a challenge. So a lot of fun. Even if I didn't win, it was still a lot of fun. So yeah, if you've enjoyed me breaking down my top 8 games, please leave a like button, comment your favorite moment down in the description of below. I imagine it probably would be that triple Ambrosia play, but maybe you had a different one. But with that being said, though, of course, I plan on uploading plenty more Elestrals content from deck profiles, gameplay. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you're notified when I upload that content. And in the meantime, just revel in this crazy match with the triple ambrosia and look forward to more content coming out from me real soon.